Autodrome near Milan is Grand Prix racing's most historic circuit, and it's got an atmosphere that's unique. For Nuvolari, Varzi, Ascari and the rest of the world's greatest have raced here, and you can sense it in the very tarmac. And it's where a fanatical crowd like no other, the Ferrari-loving tifosi, gather in their emotional thousands. Although Alain Prost leads the Drivers' World Championship by 8 points, it can't be decided here, for with 3 rounds still to go, Ferrari teamsters René Arnoux and Patrick Tambay and Brabham's Nelson Piquet are all close enough to take the crown if they do well today. The Constructors' Championship too is far from settled. Even though Ferrari lead Renault by 12 points and Brabham by 39, any of them could still be the 1983 winner. So the battle for places on the starting grid has been even tenser than usual. And to the delight of Italy, Riccardo Patrese is in pole position. His Brabham BMW half a second faster than Tambay's Ferrari, with Arnoux third and Piquet fourth. So with Alain Prost in 5th place, the top 4 World Championship contenders are all at the front, with Nigel Mansell 11th, Derek Warwick 12th and John Watson 15th. Patrick Tambay, the hero of Italy because he won at San Marino, 2nd place on the grid and a very likely winner today. Nelson Piquet, and that's his girlfriend Sylvia with him alongside the car. It's his 76th Grand Prix. He won in Brazil, 3rd equal in the championship. He has to do well today to stand the chance of winning this year. Seconds to go. Pole position, Riccardo Patrese on the right. Then there's Patrick Tambay, René Arnoux, Nelson Piquet, Alain Prost, De Cesaris and Chiva. From red, the lights go to green and away they go. And it's Riccardo Patrese, an absolutely superb start. The pole position man takes the lead immediately in the Brabham BMW. And behind him, his teammate Piquet and the 2 Ferraris of Tambay and Arnoux. And here it is again. Riccardo Patrese had the revs absolutely right. He's off to the Rettifilio, the first series of bends. He's already got several cars' lengths over the competition behind him. A superb start for the pole position man, Riccardo Patrese. And now there's Nelson Piquet up into 2nd place. So it's the Brabham BMW team of Riccardo Patrese leading, his teammate Nelson Piquet behind him, and then the 2 Ferraris. 2 Brabhams, 2 Ferraris, and behind them the Renault. And look at the lead that the Brabhams have already on lap 1 in this 52-lap race. And Chiva is closing up. Prost is in 7th place. Then it's the 2 JPS Renaults of Elio De Angelis and Nigel Mansell. Both of them worried about the ability of their tyres to last as they come down to the Via Lodi into the Ascari bends. Tambay 3rd, Arnoux 4th, Chiva 5th. De Cesaris there is in 6th position. The Alphas have had a lot of turbos blow in practice, and Eddie Chiva is still tucked up there as they come out of the Ascari bend. 4th gear, 5th gear, 180 miles an hour, and the Brabhams lead, and Chiva is now up behind René Arnoux.
Yes, we've got an interesting situation out front here with the 2 Brabhams, in that the 2 that Patrese and Piquet had a major row this morning when suggested that Patrese could let Piquet through from the point of view of getting World Championship points in the event of them finishing those together. And Piquet was storming up the path of Patrese then, but didn't make it. But it seems he's not going to get any help from his teammate. There was quite a nasty row. Words were said. Bernie Eccleston left them to it, just pointed out to Patrese that he hadn't yet signed his contract for next year, which I think was a fairly irrelevant remark, because as far as what we understand, he's not really being offered one, so that seemed quite irrelevant. But I don't know whether anything got sorted out subsequently, but here they are. There's certainly no love lost between them out front.
And there are the 2 JPS Lotuses streaming through, but what a wonderful sight at the front. The 2 British-built Brabhams with their German BMW engines. There's Piquet 2nd. Now, this is lap 2. Tambay and Arnoux, the 2 Ferraris. The 2nd and 3rd men in the World Championship. Chiva behind them in 5th position. Then De Cesaris, then Prost. And now they're coming out of the Ascari bends again, down to the Parabolica, into the Parabolica, and Arnoux goes up into third position, takes his teammates, Patrick Tambay. It's been impossible to find out whether the Ferrari team are operating under orders. And now, as they go through the gap between Riccardo Patrese and René Arnoux, who is in third position, and Eddie Cheever coming up beside Patrick Tambay, is 4.5 seconds, and Cheever goes up ahead of Tambay into fourth position, and off goes De Cesaris. His race is finished. Andrea De Cesaris is out on lap 2.
Yes, he won't get out of that. Here we can see it again. Cheever coming up, getting the toe, and outbraking Patrick Tambay, who's lost two places in as many corners. Tambay got a little bit of a twitch on there, and there is De Cesaris overexcited in his own Italian Grand Prix, basically leaving his braking too late, knocks up the back to avoid hitting Tambay, and spins off, and he's buried in the thing, and Prost having a terrible moment trying to avoid it all behind.
Well, so the Renaults now have benefited. Cheever is in fourth place. There is Tambay fifth, and that means to say that Alain Prost is in 6 points and in the World Championship points position. And there's an enormous roar of approval from the crowd, and it's blown. That is Patrese's. Patrese's engine has blown already on lap 3, and another roar from the crowd, because although Patrese is Italian, that means that the Ferraris will be moving up. It means, too, now that in the lead is Nelson Piquet, and with Nelson Piquet leading, in second position it is Arnoux, third is Cheever, fourth is Tambay. In fifth position behind Colleen Prost, in sixth position is Elio De Angelis, and the gap between Nelson Piquet in the lead is 3.6 seconds. And Arnoux will really have his head down for it, because he's in second position in the World Championship. That is Niki Lauda's car in the pits. Lauda in the pits, so already on lap 4, Andrea De Cesaris is out of the race. Patrese is out of the race. The pole position man is out. Niki Lauda is into the pits. And John Watson is driving in his first Grand Prix in a turbocharged car, because he has the second of the two McLaren TAG turbos with their Porsche-built engines. Did extremely well in practice, because John Watson was 20th at one point in practice and worked his way up through the field, and in the warm-up today he was 7th fastest and looking very good. Now here is Tambay, Prost and De Angelis battling for fourth position. Number 15, the World Championship leader, Piquet, has now completed his 8th lap ahead of Arnoux, and behind Arnoux, Cheever. Across the line go Tambay in fourth position, Prost in fifth, Elio De Angelis in sixth place. Then there's quite a long gap before John Watson is indeed up into seventh place ahead of Derek Warwick, who is 8th, and Manfred Winkelhock, who is 9th, and Nigel Mansell is still going in 10th position. And Elio De Angelis, I can tell you, you'll see him in picture, has passed Alain Prost, as there are Arnoux and Cheever, and that means to say that Elio De Angelis in the John Player Special Lotus is up into 5th place in front of Alain Prost, which reduces Prost's World Championship points at the moment from 2 to 1, and René Arnoux is still in that second place. So a tremendously interesting Italian Grand Prix, Arnoux and Cheever. That was Niki Lauda back in the race, apparently. Now look down the field, and you see here Patrick Tambay and Elio De Angelis now, having got past Prost, looks as though he's setting about the fourth place man, Patrick Tambay, on lap 11 out of 52. There's Lauda going through. He's been into the pits, of course. Now Cheever's closed up a bit on the second place man, René Arnoux, rounding the Parabolica into the start and finish straight. We're seeing two races within a race, with Nelson Piquet leading now by 7 seconds, as into the pits comes Piercarlo Ghinzani in the Kalamata Osella. I think he's probably going to be the 6th retirement in this race to join Johansson, Baldi, Lauda, Patrese and De Cesaris have already gone out of the race, and John Watson's blown it. John Watson has just gone past the pits, and he was in 7th position. His Tag Turbo engine gave an awful thump as he went past. He slowed dramatically, and although we haven't seen John Watson in vision, I suspect, oh, there he is, John Watson out of the Italian Grand Prix in 7th place on lap 14 in his first drive in a turbocharged car, having driven a jolly good race to work his way up from 15th place on the grid to 7th place in the race. Now he's had to retire. So it's still Nelson Piquet leading, still this battle between Arnoux and Cheever for 3rd position, and we have 3 different makes of car in the first 3 places. There is the leader in the Brabham BMW. In the background you see the Scarlet Ferrari 2nd and the yellow Renault 3rd. And De Angelis is now in 4th position. Elio De Angelis on lap 14. There he is, the black and gold car in the background, has passed Patrick Tambay to take 4th position. Well, great stuff. The new JPS 94T, in which Nigel Mansell finished in 4th place in the British Grand Prix, is now in 4th place in the Italian Grand Prix. And by the way, Nigel Mansell himself is in 10th position. There is Cheever, 3rd. Now, I wonder if De Angelis, having got past Alain Prost, having got past Patrick Tambay, is going to try and catch Eddie Cheever. Of course he's going to try.
Yes, we'll see if he can make any impression. In the meantime, Alain Prost appears to have got a bit of a new lease of life. He's closed up. He appeared to be struggling to stay with De Angelis, or Tambay and De Angelis, and then he's sort of come right back to them. So whether he's got his car going a bit better, or whether they had a bad lap, we'll have to keep watching.
The interest in this race is not so much for first, second and third as for whether Elio De Angelis will be able to hold that 4th place. He's now 55, just under half a second, just over half a second, I'm sorry, ahead of Patrick Tambay, and Tambay has got Prost right behind him. Then between Prost and Derek Warwick, there's a 15-second gap. That's between 6th and 7th. Derek Warwick is 14 seconds ahead of Winkelhock. Winkelhock is 3 seconds ahead of 9th place Nigel Mansell. And that is the confirmation of the position after 20 laps, and we're now on lap 21. Piquet, Arnoux, Cheever, De Angelis, Tambay and Prost. But Cheever is coming in. 10 laps. 10 seconds is the gap between race leader Piquet and Arnoux, and there you see the digital clock in the background, which will give you the time for Eddie Cheever's pit stop, and a very good pit stop is under 10 seconds. Away goes Cheever, 11.6 seconds. Absolutely no problem. The Renault pit staff were practicing assiduously early this morning. There is Elio De Angelis.
Yes, well, unfortunately we didn't get to see him stop, but congratulations to the Renault team. They turned Cheever around pretty effectively then. 11.5 seconds isn't likely quick in this day and age, but it was very efficient.
You've seen Piquet go through. This is Arnoux. I'm looking across the pits as I also look at René Arnoux, as you are looking, and I can tell you that the Ferrari pit is all ready to receive René Arnoux, who is in 2nd place in the race and in the World Championship. I see the Ferrari mechanics beautifully decked out in their identical boots, red overalls, red crash helmets and blue neck protectors, and into the pits now is coming René Arnoux at the end of lap 25, exactly on schedule. The fastest pit stop we have so far is that of Eddie Cheever. Now watch them. The fuel hose goes into the top, the other hose goes into the side of the car, off come the wheels, and up go the pneumatic hammers, which indicate, and out goes René Arnoux in 11.99 seconds to ecstatic applause from the crowd. And the difference between Eddie Cheever's stop, he was in third position at the time he came in, and René Arnoux, as Arnoux goes into the Rettifilio, was only 0.3 of a second. So just as the cars are very closely matched these days, so is the slickness of the pit crews, irrespective of whether they're Italian, British, or any other nationality. And Prost is slowing on lap 26. Alain Prost is slowing down. He's coming into the pit. Cheever goes through, and the crowd is going absolutely berserk because they've heard on the public address that Alain Prost, who was actually in third position at the time due to the previous pit stops, may be in trouble. Let's see if he is. It looks routine. He's talking to the the Renault technician. The wheels are being changed, of course. The fuel is going in now. Is he going to get away quickly? That's been a terribly slow pit stop. 15.8 seconds. Alain Prost has lost nearly 5 seconds to Cheever and Arnoux due to a very slow pit stop.
Yes, and as he pulled away then, he's got some sort of engine trouble. I think the engine was coughing and banging up, and I don't think that is a healthy Renault departing. It was also a very slow stop. So that casts new light on the World Championship, with Prost looking as if he's not going to be scoring in this race. That leaves the way clear for René Arnoux to close the gap, and of course for Nelson Piquet, who is also in range and is still a possible world champion. And if he can hold on and pick up 9 points today in a win, which he's certainly going about the right way at the moment, then he will move into striking distance with 2 more races to go after this one. So the championship, for terms of excitement, the good thing seems to be closing up. There's a different cross.
Well, you can see why they're excited. Nelson Piquet has just lapped Prost. Prost is very clearly, I would forecast, driving out of the Italian Grand Prix, which is going to blow the World Championship, as James was saying, absolutely wide open, because Prost's 8-point lead would be reduced, in fact totally eradicated, and that is Derek Warwick in the pits in the Candy Tolman. Derek Warwick on lap 28, and that means to say if Prost is out of the race potentially, 13.2 seconds, Derek Warwick. Not a particularly scintillating pit stop, but he's still running. And we have to wait and see whether Alain Prost, with 27 laps of the race completed, and we look at the race leader, Nelson Piquet, we have to wait and see whether Alain Prost is still in the running. And at the present moment, the order is Nelson Piquet is leading. Patrick Tambay is now second. René Arnoux is now third. In fourth position is Eddie Cheever. You see Rosberg come into the pits and stop, and he is very much the leading non-turbocharged car, is Keke Rosberg, because he is in 11th place, or was as he came into the pits. And that's 12.7 seconds then. The fastest pit stop so far, as Keke Rosberg's last out of the pits, is 11.6 seconds. And on lap 28, Nelson Piquet leads. Tambay is second, Arnoux is third, and there is Tambay in the pits. The second place man, Patrick Tambay, in the pits. Fastest time so far is 11.6 seconds. Out goes Tambay, 11.7. Patrick Tambay out of the pit, so both Arnoux and Tambay have completed their pit stop. And Prost is in the pits and seemingly out of the race, to the vast delight of the... There is the car of Alain Prost out of the Italian Grand Prix on lap 29, amidst catcalls, whistles and cheers from the crowd, who like nothing more, regrettably, than to see a car which could conceivably challenge their beloved Ferraris being eradicated from the race.
He was having a look, but he looked earlier in the race and was finding it difficult to deal with the power advantage that the Ferrari has got. But he's well placed to get a tow and to have another go this time as they come past the pit. And third at the first chicane. No, I think after his experience on the previous lap, he's going to cut the heroics out and try and find another way of getting round him.
René Arnoux is going to be a very, very difficult man to pass here at Monza. Very difficult indeed. They're closing up on Thierry Boutsen, the very, very good Belgian driver in the Arrows. And look at the battle now.
Yes, and the back markers may present, could present NEG with an opportunity if either of these third cars get in Arnoux's way at all, or hold him up. That would be the opportunity, could create an opportunity, and Cheever should be looking very hard for this opportunity at the moment.
Yes, indeed. And now this is the most important pit stop of the race. It is that of Nelson Piquet, and it can actually be a very, very leisurely pit stop because Piquet has now got a vast lead. The fastest pit stop we've had, it is that one. 10.15 seconds for Nelson Piquet. Well, he deserves to win this race. He deserves to win it not only for the brilliance of his driving, as we see this continuing battle between Arnoux and Cheever. Arnoux has muscled his way past Boutsen, and now so has Cheever. They're coming through to complete their 31st lap out of 52, and this was where Cheever tried before as they come down the fast 190-mile-an-hour start and finish straight into the Reticillo to take Arnoux, but he's too far behind to do it here. Lap 31, and at the moment still Nelson Piquet, who has made his pit stop, leads this battle between Arnoux and Cheever for second and third place. In fourth place it is Patrick Colbert, fifth is Elio De Angelis, sixth now is Derek Warwick, and in seventh place is his teammate, that's great, Bruno Giacomelli. Eighth is Manfred Winkelhock, ninth is Nigel Mansell, 10th is Keke Rosberg, out of the race goes Niki Lauda, and what's happening to this battle between the second and third men? Colbert has now gone ahead, and Eddie Cheever has got to lap that tail ender that I'll identify for you in a moment. That says lap 31, we're on lap 32, Piquet, Arnoux, Cheever, Torbay, De Angelis, Warwick, and Derek Warwick is again in the points, as he was in Holland. So Derek Warwick is in the World Championship point-scoring situation here in Italy, as Eddie Cheever now sets about trying again to close the gap between himself and second-place man number 28, René Arnoux. Lap 36, you're looking at the battle for second. Ahead of Arnoux there and Cheever is Piquet. Behind them, Torbay fourth, De Angelis fifth, Warwick is in sixth position. And there is Niki Lauda walking in. The gallant Austrian, double world champion, retires from his second race in the McLaren Tag Turbo. Not altogether unexpected, because it takes a long time to iron reliability into a complicated new engine in an entirely, virtually new car. Eddie Cheever, number 16, third position. He sees ahead of him still René Arnoux. And Arnoux, even if Cheever gets alongside him, is going to have an absolutely inspired Cheever to get past him. And Piquet's gone through, and his engine certainly is sounding to me a bit umpty. I've got the watch running. What do you think, James?
Yes, sounded very rough to me, and that would explain the speed at which the gap is coming down. It could be that Nelson Piquet, it sounded like a broken exhaust to me, and of course on a turbocharged engine that is a disaster, because it means his turbocharger won't be functioning, the pressure will be leaking out, and so basically Piquet will be taking everybody on with a 1.5-litre normally aspirated engine and the mixture all on, which is a disadvantage with which nobody could cope.
James is absolutely right, I think, in his forecast, because Patrese has had broken exhaust before. It has happened to the BMW setup, and the gap is now down to 17.7 seconds. A roar of approval from the crowd.
if it is a broken exhaust and things don't get any worse, Piquet could certainly keep soldiering on and would still, I think, finish in the points. He's got plenty of leeway still to play with, but he wouldn't be finishing in the first 2 or 3, which is what's important to him, because he needs those points in the championship.
4 seconds in 3 laps then has been lost by Nelson Piquet. This is lap 37. It's a 52-lap race. If you're good at mental arithmetic, you can work out what the chances are of Arnoux catching and passing Nelson Piquet. And if Arnoux did catch and pass him and stayed there to the end of the race to win again, and that would be his 4th win of the year, he would move into the World Championship lead. And James and I are going to be in a very hazardous position because we are absolutely surrounded by the tifosi here at the stand. There's Arnoux going through, and you can see that Chiva, as they come up to catch and pass Keke Rosberg, who moves over and sportingly lets them through, Chiva is crowding Arnoux extremely hard. He's giving the Frenchman absolutely no respite. 17.6 seconds was the gap at the end of the 36th lap. They are now on lap 38. The order: Piquet leads, Arnoux second, and that is Manfred Winkelhock in the pits. The race order: Nelson Piquet. We continue to look at the battle for second between Arnoux and Chiva. Or we did. We're expecting it to come into sight now. In 4th position, it is Tombe. In 5th position, it is De Angelis. 5th position, I say again, Elio De Angelis. 6th is Warwick and 7th is Mansell. So there are Arnoux and Chiva. Now, this is the gap that you see ticking away between between Arnoux in 2nd place and Piquet the leader. 18.4 seconds. Piquet is increasing his lead on lap 40. Now, another 12 laps to go, including the one that they are on. You see now Patrick Tombe coming towards us in 4th position. In 5th position in the white helmet and the black and gold car is Elio De Angelis. 6th is Warwick, 7th is Mansell, 8th is Giacomelli, 9th is Rosberg, who has been lapped, 10th Sura. There is Thierry Boutsen in the arrows. He's in 12th position. Oh dear, he's not in 12th position anymore, because it looks to me as though Boutsen was being pushed out of the race. Nelson Piquet, that you see leading Bruno Giacomelli, who is passing the Brazilian, who lets him get on with it because he's not at all worried. Nelson Piquet is now on his last lap, and no matter how René Arnoux charges, there's no way the Frenchman in the Ferrari is going to win the Italian Grand Prix, even though he's closed the gap to 10.7 seconds, unless Nelson Piquet has mechanical trouble in the 52nd of the 3.6 mile laps here at Monza. Piquet has dominated the race. He goes into the Roja bends for the 52nd and last time. He approaches in 4th gear, Lesmo 1 at 150 miles an hour. He exits it, still in 4th gear, into Lesmo 2, past the crowding grandstand on the left, and Nigel Mansell's engine has blown up in the biggest possible way. No, it's De Angelis. De Angelis in 5th position seems to have blown his engine.
Yes, well, it's probably a banging, or he could have been out of fuel, possibly. I mean, we're getting to that stage of the race, and it sounds as if maybe it could just have been that. So there's Piquet nursing it round now. Driven a very fine race indeed. He's in command throughout and has held on with obviously some minor mechanical difficulty. Arnoux's done everything he could, and it's the perfect result of the championship. And I should think Alan Prost is ruining the mistake he made at Zandvoort a couple of weeks ago, because this result makes it look very much worse than it was at the time.
And there is Nelson Piquet crossing the line to win his 2nd Grand Prix of the year, to come home in the Italian Grand Prix as René Arnoux finishes in 2nd place, 10.2 seconds behind the Brazilian, So, the Italian Grand Prix won by Nelson Piquet, second René Arnoux, third Eddie Cheever, fourth Patrick Tambay, fifth Elio De Angelis, and sixth Derek Warwick. And that means to say that the World Championship position has closed right up. Prost still leads, but only 2 points now ahead of René Arnoux, who is only 3 points ahead of Nelson Piquet. In fourth place, Patrick Tambay, a long way behind in fifth place, Keke Rosberg, and in sixth position, John Watson. The Constructors' Championship has seen Ferrari pull away from Renault, 89 points to Ferrari, 72 to Renault, and 50 to Brabham, who are now in third position ahead of Williams in fourth place. And now from Italy, we go on to the European Grand Prix at Brands Hatch in 2 weeks' time, where there'll be a new British driver in Grand Prix, Jonathan Palmer in the Tag Williams.
It's the most important race of my career to date. I think that's quite plainly the fact. After my Formula 2 success this year, I'm very, very desperate to get into Grand Prix racing next year, and the European Grand Prix at Brands Hatch represents perhaps the best shop window. I've got to demonstrate to people, hopefully, that I've got the potential to be there next year.
Now, you're driving the Williams car, but with Lafitte and Rosberg signed up, you're not actually trying for a Williams drive, are you? It's more, here I am to all the other teams.
That's right. Unfortunately, for me, Rosberg and Jacques Lafitte signed up there next year, which was something I suspected anyway, and I really was never led to believe that there'd be a big chance to drive there next year. So it's a demonstration and an opportunity for me to show other teams what potential I've got.
Any offers around at the moment for next season?
It's a bit early for definite offers yet. All I can say is that I've spoken to virtually every team in the paddock, and most of those who have got opportunities for new drivers are certainly interested in talking, but it's early days for really arriving at any firm offers or conclusions.
Now, what do you think, looking ahead to Brands Hatch, is going to be the biggest difference between what you've been used to and the big time, if you like, Formula One?
I think the first thing that's going to strike me, which already has done, is then that in fact in Formula 2 I had one of the most competitive cars and engines on the grid. So if I wasn't on the front row of the grid at a race meeting, something was very, very wrong. Now, of course, I'm moving into Grand Prix racing, which is a lot more competitive as a newcomer. The Williams Cosworth, as I'm sure Frank Williams won't mind me saying, is hardly the most competitive car on the grid. However, it's certainly one of the better Cosworth cars. But it's not going to be easy to qualify, and indeed I may not. I've got to face that prospect. So I've really got to do everything I possibly can to get on the grid, and that's probably going to be the hardest thing and the most important point for me for the weekend.
Looking ahead a year hence, what would be success for you?
Getting a Grand Prix drive. I suppose as simple as that. If I could find myself in a reasonably competitive Grand Prix car next year, I'd be very content, and I'd be very, very pleased as well.
Jonathan Palmer there talking to David Icke. But back at Monza in Italy, the day's hero, and rightly so, Nelson Piquet, who dominated the Italian Grand Prix virtually from start to finish. A great race by René Arnoux, and Derek Warwick, who took that sixth position. So now, in a fortnight's time, the European Grand Prix at Brands Hatch.